Hello, people of the internet. This is Kaiju Noir, and here I am once again in LA. So you know what that means? It's another collaboration with the one and only Enshohma.
You lucky people, you! Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so the first time we really collaborated outside of, the Shoe Watch podcast.
And try to find girls for the date, for the prom date.
Just like that one movie we saw, the one trailer we saw in front of Deadpool.
Yeah, we needed wedding dates, and thankfully they both were insane women, so we loved them.
Yay!
Okay.
If only real life actually worked out that way.
So, yeah, it's like that musical New York Story. Well, whatever. Let's get on with it.
Anyways, so last year in 2015, we watched and reviewed Attack on Titan Part 1, the adaptation, the first half of the cinematic live-action adaptation of the ridiculously popular anime and manga franchise of the same name.
Yes. And we did that in a theater proper because apparently the first movie had a wide distribution for an independent foreign release, and it was kind of easy to find a theater near us. The second film, on the other hand, was a different story altogether.
Yeah, it was mostly due to scheduling conflicts because due to certain reasons, I was unable to watch the movie for myself, and I really wanted to watch it with Raph here because I wanted to, I feel like it was only appropriate to continue to finish the duology with the same dude that I started it with.
Yeah, and in addition to that, the first of these two live-action Attack on Titan films were not well received.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, fans didn't like them, just like critics didn't like it.
And I think it resulted in a lot of theaters that showed Part 1 refused to show Part 2. In fact, I think the only place near me that was playing Part 2 in theaters was in downtown, in Little Tokyo, in downtown LA.
Probably coincidentally, it was probably where I went to for the Biollante event.
Yes, I believe so. So that it was a weird thing. So
I was thinking, you know what? It's okay if we don't see it. Maybe it'll pop up on the internet and I can get Gorizar to download it for me. And then a month passed. And then another month passed.
Another month.
So for whatever reason, the second movie was a lot harder to find online than the first movie was.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that piracy is okay, but in my case, I just don't care.
Right, and let's face it, when a movie's obscure or completely abandoned, as in the case with this second part, you really have to dig hard to find it. And I hate to say it, I honestly think these movies, despite being big budget films, we're gonna lose them pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, so far there doesn't seem to be any plans for any DVD release in America. I mean, well, Attack on Titan is popular enough, so maybe someday it'll get a DVD release. But finally, a version popped up online, so luckily my friend Gorizard was there to help us out. Excuse me, just getting over a flu that I've had for the last couple of days. So, we actually came across a version of the film with decent subtitles, so we're a lot better than what Gorizar told me it was going to be.
Yeah, the bad news was it was a Russian dubbed version.
Yes, but considering that we weren't even going to be paying attention to what they were saying in the first place.
Yeah, and the good news was that, it was a very decent subtitled version, and it was crystal clarity.
So, exactly.
Yeah, and again, it's now technically such an obscure movie, we had no other choice to go, but hopefully sometime in the future, a proper subtitled Japanese language version will show up. So.
Right. And so now here's our review for Attack on Titan Part 2, End of the World. So this movie pretty much starts right where the last film left off, where at the end of the first movie, we had the reveal that the Rogue Titan, I think that's what you called it.
Yeah, that seems to be the official name of the character.
Okay, the Rogue Titan revealed itself to be Eren, who passed out, and somehow, everyone's wondering how the hell did he become a Titan at the end of the last movie. So we cut to maybe a few hours later, maybe a day later, and so he is being held captive by by the military who plans to take him out because they don't trust the fact that he is somehow some half-human, half-Titan hybrid.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that the military police in this version of Attack on Titan look suspiciously like scary Nazis, or
very some like fascist type of government.
They definitely made the military police more
antagonistic
and more outright villainous, at least more obviously so in this version.
And out of nowhere,
I should also warn everybody, there's going to be some
slight spoilers.
Spoilers, especially since this movie again seems to be lost the time already, so might as well spoil it for those who don't want to go see it. So you've been warned.
So, out of nowhere, an armored Titan or some mysterious new Titan shows up and kidnaps Eren. Meanwhile, and pretty much decimates the evil government,
as well as every other extra that was handy at the time.
So now we have a group of survivors. In other words, the only real human characters we kind of sort of cared about from the first movie includes Mikasa, Armin,
Sasha,
the potato girl, strong dude,
right? That's Seongi, Jean, aka Horseface, and last but not least Hanji, or should I say last and least Hanji?
Last and most importantly Hanji. We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that in a moment.
Okay, so now while they are trying to do their own thing, trying to find some method of sealing the giant hole that the Colossal Titan left in the at the beginning of the first movie, we have Eren, who is greeted by Shikishima, Captain Shikishima, who is the shady-looking dude from the first movie who trained Mikasa.
Yeah, and as we'll see, he's sort of a brand new character that encompasses a bunch of other more famous characters from the anime and manga, but for the most part, he's an original character.
Right.
As we comically called him, Captain McShifty. McShifty Pants.
Shady McShifty Pants.
Shady McShifty Pants. So
he pretty much gives the lowdown on Eren as to what the Titans were, where they came from, how did their world came to be what it is now, and ask Eren to join him in trying to help wipe out the Titans. So eventually, Shikishima's group and Mikasa's group meet up. Disputes are made, and it's revealed Shikishima is the bad guy.
Yes.
The shady dude was the villain the whole time. What a surprise.
Yeah, it was very subtle. In the first movie, there was that great scene where he was like tying Armin to the tracks, and he was wearing all black with the top hat. I would have never guessed he would have been the villain in the second movie at all. So, of course, in the first movie, he also destroyed that whole truck full of kittens with his laser eyes, but, completely nice guy.
Yeah, I'm a very trustworthy fellow. Yeah.
Captain Shikishima, what are you doing with all those bribes?
And so eventually it's revealed that Shikishima wants to destroy the Titans wants to allow the Titans to destroy what's left of humanity, just so that the government can wipe out the Titans and he can wipe out the governments, leading him in charge. So now Eren and his team must do whatever they can to put a stop to him, as it is later revealed that they've got a Titan on their own on their side.
Right.
And while also dealing with the last remnants of the government, which is a weird little subplot that's like in and out of the plot as it goes along, but we'll get into that later. So that is essentially the plot, the basic premise to Attack on Titan Part 2, End of the World, where basically this is the third act. It's a lot like the last Hobbit movie, where it's essentially the third act extended all the way. Or rather, it feels like the conclusion of the second act plus an extension of the third act.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. And thankfully, and no offense to the Hobbit movies, the Hobbit movies, I kind of support them a lot more than other people do. But,
Same here.
Yeah, but admittedly, that third film definitely kind of wasted its welcome or dragged on a little too long. Hold on. That last movie kind of wore out its welcome. That's what I'm trying to say. This movie, though, despite being an extended third act when climax, it moved at a better pace, for better and worse.
Oh, absolutely, because for one, it had an ending, which the second movie didn't really have. The second movie was essentially the first and second act of a whole story, so it felt very incomplete and did not, in my opinion, did not work. structurally as its own film.
And more to the point, and again, I think I may have mentioned before, it dragged on a lot more than I wanted it to. Typical of most Japanese fantasy films. Granted, the first film had several action sequences spread throughout the movie, but it still felt like way too much setup for very little payoff. This movie, though, it was the payoff. In strides, I might add. So.
And we've heard this from a lot of people, and some people have seen it as a good thing. Other people have criticized it for being nothing but payoff, action, whatever.
Yeah, it's like the common criticism amongst professional critics is like, first movie bored me, the second movie bored me with a 90-minute giant monster fight. Yeah, but then again, that seems to be professional critics in general when it comes to giant monster anything.
Yeah, but I can see where they're coming from in terms of the structural problems, because I would have said, like, this movie, I've told this to you several times as we were watching Attack on Titan Part 2, that this movie would have worked, both movies would have worked so much better if they were edited together as one movie and take out certain elements, that unnecessary elements out.
Yeah, exactly. I would personally think it would be better to combine both movies and to shorten the first 2 acts, the first film. Get rid of some of those dragging moments and just. On the other hand, a 3-hour epic with an extended action sequence probably would work in its own right, and definitely a lot better than other Japanese fantasy films that I shall not name. Cough, cough, Devilman, cough, cough. That I had to. I'm sorry.
I know
that.
It's a tradition at this point.
Exactly. Where. Yeah, the movie is that movie was almost 2 hours and a half, if not bordering on 3 hours. And it just felt horrible and very little action at the end. This is the complete opposite effect. If you put the two movies together, you'd have a very extensive action sequence at the end. Separated in 2 halves, yeah, there's a problem with that, but it also works in its own right because I have to admit, I think I kind of enjoyed this film a lot more than I did the first half.
Yeah, absolutely, same for me too. Especially when at the very beginning they start off with that sort of face off against the fascist military and Eren and his friends trying to defend him, and like right when the new Titan shows up, I guess for all intents and purposes, I like to call him the Armored Titan, even though he's not really.
Yeah.
But I guess he's supposed to be based off, for the most part, off the Armored Titan.
Yeah, we'll reveal his true identity eventually, maybe. I don't know. What do you want to do there?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for people, even though there's no means of watching the movie outside of illegal means, but I do want to keep it spoiler-free, which is kind of what we did for the first one.
Okay, then we'll do that. But like, I personally would love just to spoil the hell out of everything. Surprise, at the end, the Titanic sinks and Armin has to say goodbye to Sasha while floating in the middle of the icy ocean. So that does not happen.
But luckily, his heart will go on.
Yes, his heart shall go on. So, but no... I would personally love to spoil everything just because, again, it seems like this film is disappearing.
Okay, what the hell? Just let's spoil it.
No, we'll get there.
Okay, at the very end.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, how about we'll do that? We'll review the movie, and then at the end we'll do spoilers.
Okay.
So, anyways, but for the most part, until we get to the spoiler section, I think we'll go with the nickname you gave this new Titan. No, the Bone Titan.
The Bony Titan.
Yeah, because the Armored Titan looks like he has... this Titan, though, definitely looks like he has like an outer skeleton, bony plates and everything.
Exoskeleton sort of deal.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, and plus it is a good name, and it is its own original character, despite being based on.
It's essentially a combination of the Armored Titan from the early this first or second episode of the anime,
right?
Plus the female Titan due to its role in the story, and basically it's a combination of those two.
Yeah, as well as Captain Levi if Captain Levi was evil. So,
evil Levi, Armored Titan, female Titan, all mixed up into one convenient character that the plot can revolve around for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. So, yeah, and one thing I'll definitely say about the Bone Titan, as we're calling him, it's a fantastic costume.
I love this much more than the Eren Rogue Titan.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like before in our first review for part 1, I thought the Colossal Titan was the best looking of the props, but no, the Bone Titan hits out of the ballpark because it's a well done. It's a beautiful looking design. Very, very well sculpted. The proportions in the face is perfect.
It looks like the face is actually like makeup and prosthetics prosthetics grafted onto the face, as opposed to the Aaron Titan. The thing I hate about the Aaron Titan is that its mouth sticks out too much, so it looks like a puppet mouth, or some weird like werewolf mouth.
Yeah, especially doesn't help that the Rogue Titan or the Aaron Titan has just pure black in its mouth too, which looks unnatural. And again,
more fake.
Yeah. I will admit he looks slightly better in this movie than he did in the first one, but I don't know if
the skin texture looks a lot better, and it doesn't seem to like buckle and crease whenever he moves his body.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a horrifically deformed sumo wrestler suit you find in park events. But I don't know if that's because of the way they filmed it, or they actually did take some time to make the suit look a little better. But the Bone Titan looks fantastic. Again, it's a pure mask. It's not a real makeup job, but in some scenes it looks that good, especially the eyes. In fact, it's so good they barely use any CGI giving it facial expressions, although they do use a lot of CGI for its glowing internal areas.
Yeah, and speaking of glowing, I like the use of color in order to differentiate the Bone Titan and Rogue Titan, where it's a common thing I've seen in a lot of fiction where they tend to use the colors red and purple to contrast who the villain and hero is in the story. And we've seen it in Transformers, when you always see the colors red and purple represent Autobots and Decepticons. We've seen it in G Gundam between Domon Kashu's Gundam and Master Asia's Gundam.
Right.
And so it works here just as well.
Yeah, you also see it a little bit in Tokusatsu, but no, the adding of the bright colors was a good decision. Some of the CGI overlays with the glowing body parts don't work too well.
Yeah. And especially, like, I've noticed, like, from the very beginning, as they were showing scenes from the first movie as a recap, the special effects don't look good as good on TV as they do on the big screen.
You know, that's funny. I've noticed that with Japanese monster movies in general. Like, they always look better, even though you can tell they're still models, you can still tell they're guys in suits, but there's a kind of awesomeness about it on the big screen, a sort of oh crap, I wish I had a better vocabulary. I don't know, it just makes a bigger impact on the big screen.
Shit looks more shiny.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Shit looks more shiny on the big screen. Sometimes it's because the effects themselves are really good, like the detailed model effects in King Kong vs. Godzilla. Sometimes it's just the impact of everything just hitting you at that size on the screen. But yeah, the effects don't look that good on the small screen, and it definitely looks a lot of like CGI and green screen combined, even worse than when we saw it in the theater.
And luckily, this film just so happens to rely less on the Titans and on the regular Titans, and more so on the costumed ones.
Yeah, to be honest, I did wish we got... Well, actually, the movie's so action-packed, I can see why they wouldn't put in more scenes with the regular Titans. And I still like the regular Titans, the fact that they are real actors and not Hollywood CGI monstrosities that don't look anything like humans.
Yeah.
Jack the Giant Slayer, or whatever the hell that giant was. Not Hagrid, but Hagrid's full giant brother from that one crappy Harry Potter movie. I don't remember. Because I don't like Harry Potter, period.
Order of the Phoenix?
I don't know. They're all the same to me. So I only like the Prisoner of Azkaban, or as whatever. But no, it's funny. One thing I do want to say off the bat, though, even though the special effects do look a little more green screen heavy, you're right. They use the costume Titans, so it does work. It's a little more impressive looking than when just the semi-naked actors running around model sets
with like distorted body parts in green screen.
Yeah. Although some
and interacting with humans, which makes the green screen even more apparent.
Yeah, and you definitely see that in the recap, which, by the way, contrary to popular belief, is like less than 4 minutes. It's not like a full 10-15 minute recap. Contrary to what a lot of fans say.
It's not like there's like some virus out there like showing two Japanese and American kid the entirety of the first movie.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Over the course of 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. So, extending a 75-minute movie to 90 minutes. You're absolutely right. That's horrible. But at the same time, like I was telling you earlier, I still enjoyed the fact that I'll give them A for effort for even trying to do these things and giving us plenty of monster action within 90 minutes.
But I still just don't understand why it needs to be 2 movies. I mean, even within this movie, like we said, it's basically a glorified an extended third act, and there were times in the movie that I felt dragged on too long. The biggest example was the encounter between Mikasa's group and Shikishima's group, and just how they were debating as to what to do with the fate of humanity, and then Eren fights Shikishima and he gets his ass kicked, and at this point I was like, when is this going to wrap up? When are we going to move on to the next to the next scene?
Yeah, and I hate to say it, even knowing a lot of these actors are actually doing a good job, that scene did feature some embarrassing overacting from our hot-headed young heroes. So,
yeah. He was like, "You need to make a decision."
Acting.
And I remember I joked around. I was like, "Hey, Enshohma, what do you want from Burger King?"
Mashed potatoes. Oh wait, they don't have mashed potatoes at Burger King. Okay, never mind. Whopper.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what you expect from Japanese acting nowadays.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a more concrete answer on why the Japanese feel okay to overact like that.
I don't know. Maybe that's just how they are in person. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to say that, but at the same time, when you consider that Nick Adams fit perfectly in those movies better than some of the more restrained actors that would show up from American and Japanese monster movie, it does make a little more sense. So, but still, it's like that scream was a little silly.
And of course, there's Hanji, but we'll just outright say she was our favorite character throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, she was. Even though, and I think
even though she is the most over the top, it's like so over the top, it just comes right back to being awesome. In a way.
Yeah. And to be honest, again, well, minus some hiccups here and there, and we will get to the hiccups at the end.
Oh yeah.
Hanji's pretty much on character, and especially since she does some of the things that the real Hanji in the anime would do.
And she actually has a personality, unlike most of the heroes here.
Oh yeah, that is true. So, although, yeah, again, some of the characters I still love. I love General Soda, the old mentor to Eren.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and of course I do like Sanagi, or Sayangi, the strong man who...
Over the top anime strong man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he would be better off in an episode of Power Rangers fighting robots with his bare hands than just like Bulk.
Or maybe he should be, if they ever decided to make another sequel to Kamen Rider the Next, he should be Kamen Rider Stronger. Kamen Rider the Strong.
Oh, indeed. So, yeah, that I don't know, but no, a lot of good actors, but I really do think the actress who played Hanji, who is Satomi Ishihara, that's a very simple name to say, Satomi Ishihara, she did a pretty good job with Hans.
And I was really excited to know that she was the actor from this movie who's going to be in Godzilla Resurgence.
Yes, playing an American agent visiting Japan, despite the fact that she's Japanese herself.
And doesn't know any English. The actress herself doesn't know English, so she's going to... I wish her a good luck for that. I mean, I think principal photography has already wrapped up at this point, so I hope to God she did good.
Yeah, I hope so too. But it's great to see her in another kaiju film, especially since she was so much fun in the two Attack on Titan movies. And of course, there's another guy from these Attack on Titan movies who's going to be in the new Godzilla Resurgence. That person is Hiroki
Hasegawa.
I'll just call him Hiroki. You say the whole name.
So Hiroki Hasegawa, the villain of this movie, he's very over the top. He's very snidely. He's the mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
He's kind of okay. He's very generic. He's not very generic, but it's like. It's the kind of villain where you've kind of seen before, where it's like, I want to wipe out all humanity and start. I want to start humanity. I want to wipe out humanity so I can start a clean slate with me on top to begin with.
It's funny. His plan, at least to me, half of it made sense. The other one didn't make sense. Like, on one hand, I can understand he hates the corrupt government so much that he's more than willing to bring the battle to the Titans themselves. But at the same time,
how does he expect the government to wipe out the Titans when they couldn't do so to begin with?
Yeah, that's the part that kind of ruins everything. Because I love the idea that he's more than willing to sacrifice what's left of humanity just to get back at the government itself. But at the same time, he has a really good idea what Titans are capable of, as against much greater forces.
Yeah.
And here he is. How is the government of this current world going to take out the Titans unless I don't know. So
does he plan on donating his more advanced weaponry to the government?
Actually, I had a little bit of a brain fart you just heard there, ladies and gentlemen. I actually know what I think he knew exactly what he was doing with the government taking out the Titans, but we'll get to that later.
All right. Oh yeah.
Okay, now it hits you.
Okay, so let's see here. So we talked a little bit about the characters, the acting. I do want to say they redeemed Mikasa, because she was kind of a bland character. They took away that strong bond that she had with Eren from the anime.
As well as Armin.
Right, exactly. Armin, he's still underdeveloped in this movie, in my opinion. He's just a glorified plot, though. He's the tech guy, so obviously he comes up with something that will save the day in the end.
Yeah. He's, it's funny. Armin is a very underrated character in the anime, because in the anime he comes expert strategist. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of his plans actually end up saving our heroes. Even though he can't fight for crap, as a strategist, he's awesome.
None of that is here.
Yeah, and he does have, and for a fairly weak, meek Omega character, he has an incredible pair of iron balls on him, because especially when he tries to defend Eren and Mikasa from a cowardly McGeneral from the anime, or whoever that bearded jerk was.
Now notice how only 25 minutes in are we finally starting to compare and contrast the movies from the anime.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the misconception that a lot of people seem to have, where they think that anyone who has issues with these movies, they have issues just because it's different from the anime. Now, I know there are some people out there who idiotically think like that, where just because it's different, that automatically means it sucks. But if you notice, throughout the review so far, we haven't once compared them, and we've already pointed out issues just looking at the movies themselves.
Yeah. The thing a lot of people forget, and this was made a big deal in the advertisement in Japan, that this is really its own standalone story on an Attack on Titan. It's
right.
The live action film is its own thing. Yeah. It's heavily inspired and takes elements from the anime and manga, but it really stands on its own. For better and for worse. Some of the characters are very true to their original counterparts. Other ones are slightly tweaked. And other ones are completely changed, almost to the point that they're unrecognizable. And of course, there's all the brand new characters and things that are revealed in this movie that have yet to be fully revealed, although hinted at within the series itself. Right. So the manga and the anime. So, but no, as it's... Where are we going to go with this? I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say that
I kind of had
the reason why we bring up the comparisons now is because, as I've stated in the last review, it's okay to change something. Just be sure that change was good to begin with, because if it's not a good change, or if that change that you made turned out to be not very good in the film itself. Then you got to ask yourself, what was the point of changing it from something that was good enough to begin with? Case in point, let's take a look at two movie adaptations: Jim Carrey's The Mask and Halle Berry's Catwoman. The Mask was based off like this horror comic and is really nothing like the source material. Yes, but it's a damn good movie. Yes.
In fact, good thing you brought that up. Originally, New Line Cinema wanted to turn The Mask into the next Freddy Krueger, but it wasn't working out, and so they decided, what the hell we'll do as a full-blown comedy. They got lucky enough to get Jim Carrey, and the rest is history. And the Mask does work a lot better as this kind of comical, off-the-wall superhero, at least in my eyes.
It works on its own, as its own thing.
Yeah, and I actually do like the original Mask quite a bit. Then you have on the complete opposite end, you have Halle Berry's Catwoman, which... that
ignores every single thing that people like about Catwoman, and what we have instead is a complete piece of shit.
Yeah. Or it's like when it does make... it's okay to make changes to characters. For example, another terrible comic book adaptation I can mention is, of course, our good friend Devilman, the live-action movie.
Yeah.
They insisted on telling the original story in a condensed 2.5-hour frame, and it really hurts. And really, it's really obvious, at least in my eyes. Here, though, they took major elements from the manga and the anime, but they did their own story within this 3-hour, but within this double feature. And the end result, I think, works a lot better in its favor than against. Even though, like you said, there's some people who are definitely against it. So
right.
And I do have to admit, the anime and the manga do have their own problems, but it is a better story and a superior product to the live action movie.
At least in our opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I know there are people who actually like the movies more so than the anime.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody like that yet. So you must have gone to a magical lost world in the rabbit hole, as far as I'm concerned.
It's called Matt Frank's comment section on his post.
Yes, Matt Frank, the more rare than a silver Irishman. But no, I think on its own, the second movie definitely kind of justifies the decisions they made in making these movies. And it's kind of a sad thing the movies weren't more successful, because I really did enjoy the second part a lot more. So much so that I only really had one major problem with the movie.
Okay.
And that was just the rushed nature of it all, as well as some of the editing choices.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, like some scenes go on too long, some scenes feel like extra padding.
Yeah.
And then there are certain things where it's like another villain, to do a little minor spoiler, another villain shows up at the very last second, which makes you think, if he's supposed to be like the big final boss, what was the whole point of Shikishima to begin with?
Yeah, it's...
you could have just had that guy be the actual dude, because the whole fascist government thing seemed like a really cool angle. Then it's ignored through the majority of the film, only to be abruptly brought back at the very end.
Yeah, and that is... it's a funny thing. I know you don't want spoilers from the manga itself, but that decision in the movie itself is inspired from elements from the manga itself. They just took it to a slightly different direction, and a more obvious one too. You know, Mikhail, nay. Yeah, if only Kevin Smith and his friends were here. So, yeah, you do get that feeling that Shikishima does seem to get overwhelmed and overshadowed by this secondary villain who shows up towards the end.
And I remember the whole reason why I started the comparing thing. I feel like out of all of this, Mikasa was the one who suffered the most in terms of like being translated from the original source material to the live action film.
Yes, but like you said, she's completely redeemed in the second one.
Yeah. They do make her relationship to Eren a good focus on the film, to where she becomes the very protective, has that protective, loving bond that she had in the source material, and where she's willing to put her life on the line to protect Eren. Yeah,
as well as everyone else, and of course they also make her a more obvious badass. So even giving her some of the gags from the original manga into this story. And not only that, but let me just say that even knowing the movie effects aren't great, I still give an A for effort for doing all the visual wackiness that they put in there.
We remember how many times we commented on the transformation sequences.
Oh, yeah.
Super, like, anime transformation sequences.
Yeah, those were really cool. It's like so much so we couldn't help but make some Digimon jokes. Like, Eren, transform into...
Titan Eren!
Yes! Some of those transformation sequences were actually really cool. I have to admit, I think the live-action movie did a better job with the transformation sequences than the anime does.
Well, I guess the anime was a lot more subtle than most other anime transformations. It wasn't really a transformation sequence. It was just, bam, bolt of lightning.
Bolt of lightning, big steam giant shows up. Here they do this wonderful CGI malaise of like one character's
tendons and bones being formed.
Giant arms and rib cages grasping over the subject in question like a suit of battle armor. It was actually really neat. So I do, again, the special effects aren't perfect, but they get an A for effort for even doing them. And let's also, I have to admit, it's been a long time since I've seen a giant monster movie that's almost been, like you said, a whole third act, almost nothing but action sequences. And it was refreshing compared to other Japanese monster movies or giant monster movies where we don't see anything until like the last couple of minutes. So for that alone, I think these two live-action Attack on Titan movies are far from perfect, and and especially compared to the superior anime and mangas. But
again, in our opinion,
but on their own, they are definitely a unique chapter in the history of recent kaiju films.
Absolutely. And I would say they're definitely worth checking out at least once.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. At least once. And if you are a giant monster fan and you love kaiju more so than you love Attack on Titan, I think you'll get a big kick out of the second movie.
So what would you give it out of your inferior 4 scale?
Oh, yeah. Okay, just to let you guys know, I prefer doing 4 stars since it actually means something. And it isn't like, it isn't like, you know, 1 out of 100. None of it makes sense. So out of 4 stars, I would give this movie the first movie I gave 2.5 stars, which is above average. Mm-hmm. This movie, I'm willing to give it 3 stars. Okay. So it's pretty good. So a kind of a hesitant 3 stars, but 3 stars nonetheless.
Okay.
Yeah, and just like the Lord of the Rings trilogies, it was worth the trip from the first movie to the second one, because I actually had a lot of fun watching the second one. So it was worth the time.
And sorry, do you want to continue? Mm-mm. All right. So I'm going to give the movie a 3 out of 5. It definitely has a lot of issues in terms of its plot structure, its pacing, some of the acting.
Yeah. By the way, the only real thing I had against it was it felt rushed, and some of the editing choices were a little. They do a lot of dissolves between scenes to such a point that it cut some of the fight scenes feel more like insane dream sequences dissolving from one scene to another.
But or like when Eren goes back from being a Titan to a human, it's just like a fade transition, and then bam, he's right there.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it feels like are you watching a movie or a dreamscape within a TV commercial? But at the same time, that was my only real complaint. And again, I had a lot more fun with this movie, and it definitely is worth watching, especially if you're a kaiju fan. So
I would pretty much agree with those people who are like, it's nothing but action, but it's very well executed action, some decent character interactions in between all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the superior companion piece in terms of looking at the two movies as a duology. Mm-hmm. I would say it's kind of... it's really hard to recommend watching both movies back to back, considering how long and boring the first one was.
Right.
If only there was someone could cut them together and to make a master cut of those two together.
Yeah. Or it's perfectly okay when if the movies ever find their way onto American DVD, to watch the first one on one night when and then so that you can appreciate the second one a little more. Or I guess so. If you just love your giant monsters and you're well aware of what Attack on Titan is, just skip to the second one. So.
Attack on Titan Part 2, End of the World, has its issues, but it's a lot of damn good fun.
Yeah, it's definitely the superior to, at least in the opinions of these two giant monster-loving wackaloons.
All right, so absolutely. So, in terms of spoilers, what is something you want to talk about? We'll just give you guys the option to turn off the video at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have been warned.
Yes. It turns out that Godzilla shows up and rips his mask off and reveals to Eren that he was his father this whole time.
It turns into glorified fan fiction. Yeah. Oh my god, and then my original Titan comes in and saves the day.
Or it's then
it turns out that that Titan was Ultraman.
Yeah. Well, it's we'll really be obnoxious. It's Eren's getting his ass beaten up by Iris from the Gamma movies, but then the Shacktron from Gravity Falls.
I'm gonna make at that point it's like that one of those kind of fan fictions where someone tries to put every single thing that they like into one story.
Yeah, I was about to before you interrupted me. I was gonna throw in the Jaegers from Pacific Rim being piloted by the actual by the Jaegers from Kami Ga Kill or some crap, or the Shacktron from Gravity Falls shows up, and then next to it is Gamera. So the cool Gamera, not the crappy Toto Gamera that I secretly love. So, but okay, so
something that you want to talk about.
Yeah, spoilers. Now, like I said, it hasn't been fully revealed in the manga and the anime yet, but this movie goes out of the way to show its own origins and backstory behind how the Titans were created. Mm-hmm. And basically, Titans were scientific experiments possibly done by the Chinese military or the North Korean military, as it was shown, of turning a prisoner into a Titan, probably for military purposes. Now, this first Titan, when he's transformed, he's not... You can tell he's still sentient in the face, and he can still... And this is all done through archival footage that Shikishima...
reveals to Eren.
Reveals to Eren. And it isn't a brief but really cool sequence showing the modern world being destroyed by the Titan apocalypse. In this first Titan we see, he definitely seems aware of his surroundings. He's not attacking the human beings who are right next to him. But they mentioned that from these experiments, a new virus was born that started transforming people left and right into Titans.
Yeah.
And we see one such unattended transformation with a Japanese schoolgirl in a convenience store who basically, once she transforms, her arm alone almost kills all the patrons inside the convenience store.
Yeah.
And then we cut to what I assume it is America. A woman is celebrating her birthday party, and all of a sudden, a Titan that looks suspiciously like Gary Busey's son with a huge scar on his face just looks through the window and sees them
attacking them.
Yeah, exactly. And then they show news footage of just Titans all over the world, and very similar to Devilman. They make this point where the Titan menace got so out of control that humans started attacking each other as well and just led to nuclear war and all sorts of destruction. Here, though, unlike the live-action Devilman movie, it makes sense. Because in the live-action Devilman movie, barely any demons showed up, and all of a sudden there's missiles attacking every part of the Earth, as if there's a missile launcher in every home. In this movie, though, I can understand that the Titan menace gets so insane that I guess every government in the world decides to nuke everyone else because it's the only way to stop the Titans. And again, these are human beings being transformed into Titans. So it makes way more sense. And I love that mankind only got desperate after the giant monsters became more insane.
Yeah.
It would be like if Gamera 3 had a proper sequel and we find out that Gamera lost, the Gauss multiplied beyond control. More giant monsters showed up in addition to the Gauss, and mankind just went crazy because of all the damn giant monsters everywhere.
Yeah.
So that part I did like very much, and it was a really cool sequence. It's funny, though, I was actually expecting to be a much bigger sequence because there was a lot of, when the movies began filming, there was a lot of talk about trying to get extras as people who are being attacked by Titans. And for a while, it seemed like they were being attacked in modern day. Like, we were going to have, a really impressive prologue sequence showing Titans attacking the modern world. Unfortunately, it's just switched to this very short, but really well done scene where a bunch of Titans are integrated into real world conflicts, along with new actor scenes, like the American birthday party.
It seems like they got some stock footage of military battles or weapon demonstrations.
Oh yeah, exactly. As well as a lot of original actors too, like the North Korean scientists. Clearly, nobody wears high tech gas mask suits unless they're in a Guillermo del Toro movie with kaiju. The convenience store attack, and of course the son of Gary Busey Titan. So no, I really like that sequence quite a bit. And you know what? It's like, again, it's inspired by some of the elements within the manga itself. And I always figured that was some sort of scientific wackiness going on with the Titans.
And I really like the idea of how the government, this fascist government, within the three walls, would try to literally create block out the problem, try to ignore it, and keep everyone safe inside this bubble that they can easily control. And I thought it was rather interesting reveal that it was later revealed that the government intentionally whether it was the government or it was that one man alone whose name I forgot.
Oh, his name is General Kubal, also known as this universe's version of the Colossal Titan, played by Jun Kunimura. Yeah, who is probably best known to Godzilla fans as the original captain of the Gotengu from the opening of Godzilla Final Wars. He was also in Kill Bill Volume 1 as that one unfortunate Yakuza boss who got his head cut off. And I think he's been in other movies, but those are the only two that I think I can mention right off the bat. So, and he definitely plays a very loathsome villain, as I should say.
He's someone easy to hate. And I find it also interesting that he doesn't directly shoot the mentor figure for Eren. Yeah. He has someone else shoot it for him. So he's relying on other people to do his dirty work for him until eventually when he has to get into the fray himself.
Yeah, and you do bring up a really good point. It is ambiguous because, again, he's the freaking Colossal Titan.
Yeah.
Did he act because the government wanted to get rid of a bunch of people just to attain power?
I think what they were trying to do is he realized that the youth of the latest generation are curious about escaping the place and trying to live in the outside world, and he's afraid that they are going to be detrimental to the human race because they're only going to inspire more and more people to be let out of the walls and risk letting the Titans in. So it's that way of not by destroying the wall and letting the Titans in, at least the first wall, he not only is able to wipe out the newer generation completely, but will instill fear into future generations, saying, look, this is what happens. These Titans are scary and therefore you should stay inside these walls.
And worship the government at all costs.
Yeah.
Also, it could have just been a real dick move just to keep the population low, because that, as you know from the first couple episodes of Attack on Titan, like overpopulation was a major threat to people moving into the second wall. But again, he's the Colossal Titan, so is he really did that because the government said so, or did he do it on his own accord, and he's just being a fascist dick for the sake of it?
Right,
so.
And I really wish that government angle was the main focus, like the main antagonistic force of the plot, rather than Shikishima, because it's so interesting yet pretty underdeveloped.
Yeah. Well, slight spoilers for you. They actually do touch upon that in more detail in the manga and hopefully the second season.
Yeah, pretty much everything about the universe of Attack on Titan is expanded upon in the anime.
Yeah, but no, you'll if you wanted to see more of that subplot, you're going to get it in spades in the near future. Another thing, I just realized when we were talking about Shikishima's somewhat screwed up plan, halfway into it, that little pause I had, you heard, ladies and gentlemen, wait, he probably knows General Kubel
is the Colossal Titan.
Yeah, so of course it probably would face. The plan now makes sense, you know. If the
Colossal Titan, if the regular Titans were to breach the second and first walls, then the first, second, and third walls, then Kubel will defend humanity as the Colossal Titan.
Yeah, or at the very least, the government swines within the third wall alone, because that was like kind of a big point about. The third wall is full of dicks. It's like, as you know from the later episodes of the first season.
Right.
So it's hilarious. Like all those jerks we meet in previous episodes all get killed off by the female Titan in one little jog.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's like all of a sudden my plan realized that Shikishima probably knows that Kabul is the Colossal Titan, or that the Colossal Titan is in league with the government. So of course the Colossal Titan could be powerful enough to take on these far more stupid, lesser Titans.
Yeah.
So, on the other hand, if this was real life, I think the third wall would just close itself completely and let everyone suffer and not even bother with the Titan threat. So,
and then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, then came that confusing manner in terms of how all three characters, Eren, Shikishima, and Kubel, were able to obtain the Colossal Titan power. So apparently, I don't know, Shikishima and Eren are brothers, sort of. They keep referring to Eren's father as our father. Then again, it could be as a result of the subtitles.
Yeah, no, they are definitely brothers. But again, and no offense, Japan, you really don't have very strong scripts especially when it comes to character interaction or one character acknowledging a reveal that the other character just says. It's like I was joking with you throughout the movie. It's almost like one of the problems I have with Space Godzilla, you have two characters in the same scene, but they seem to be acting from separate scripts of the same story. And that doesn't make any sense. Separate scripts of two different versions of the same story. So it's like, you know, one character asks a question, the other character doesn't even reply. Or so it's like something weird like that. And I can see why you got confused about them being brothers.
Maybe they're not literal brothers. Maybe it's like they just happen to know the guy, know the father closely.
Yeah, and we do get a cameo appearance from Eren's mother and father, who appear quite a bit throughout the anime and the manga, but are actually given kind of an extended cameo appearance. So as well as a much less. Also, they do explain that Titan shifters in this world are created through the same bioengineered serum that created the first Titan.
And I'm assuming that Aaron's father created this serum to help humanity fight back against the Titans.
Yeah, or more likely, I think most likely he recreated the original serum, where it would create a person who could transform into a Titan, still be sentient.
But why?
Oh, to defend against the dumber mutated.
Yeah, to fight back.
Yeah, it's like, think of it like a bad Resident Evil plot where somebody willingly becomes a semi-zombie to fight against the full-on zombies or something.
Right.
Which is the case with the Titan shifters, at least in this version of Attack on Titan.
And eventually he was captured by the government and he was killed, but not before having Kubal take advantage of that and apply the formula to himself.
Yeah, that or that Kubal always had the formula.
And then again, where does Shikishima fit in all of this? How did he get, the serum?
If they are brothers, then they probably got it from the father. So, but
or maybe like Shikishima somehow like worked his way through the system and eventually secretly got his hands on the serum. I don't know.
Yeah, how about we just say they didn't make that plot point clear enough? That's
or at least the subtitles on here.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, most Japanese films have a horrible habit of like characters interacting but not directly.
Yeah.
And major plot points are never made clear even when it's obvious to everybody but the two characters interacting. So,
let's see. Is there anything else worth talking about?
Shikishima turned out to be the Bone Titan. In fact, because he's his own unique character, I often just refer to him as the Shikishima or Shikishima Titan.
Yeah.
Because again, he's not quite the Armor Titan. He's not quite Captain Levy. He's not quite Levi, thank you. And, oh wow, I didn't know there was a gene salesman in Attack on Titan. So, good job, Captain Levi. He not only slays Titans, he gives free genes to everybody who needs it. So,
next thing you know, we have Captain Quicksilver, Captain Vans, Captain Hurley's.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the Gap Titan, who just dances
of course.
Fancy clothes.
And we have the Guest Titan.
Oh yeah, the Guest Titan. So, oh god, I hate those guys. Worst characters ever. So, yeah, the American version of Attack on Titan isn't that good. So, but no, Shikishima is the Bone Titan, or Shikishima Titan is, I think, the closest thing to official name he has. Although most fans just call him the Armor Titan, but again, it's its own unique character. And a fantastic costume at that, too. Let us discuss... Okay, as much
Hanji.
As much as we love Hanji, as much as we love actress... Satomi Ishihara as Hanji.
She is written out of the movie for a long stretch of time. Nobody really acknowledges it.
Yeah, okay, so what happens is, just a quick recap. Shikishima shows up with his group, who seem to be a bunch of wayward freedom fighters who live, within the Titan country. They have more high-tech technology, basically missile launchers, guns, and a tank. Hanji gets all excited because she's the scientist of the group, the eccentric scientist.
The tech woman.
Yeah, the wonderful mad scientist on the side of good. She crawls into the tank to see what happens, to see how it works inside, which I think was sort of Shikishima's sinky way of locking her inside so she wouldn't...
But they never acknowledge her presence again. It's not like she's like banging on the door saying "let me out."
Yeah,
nothing. She's forgotten about.
Yeah, and as one character, Seongi, the strongman, actually sacrifices his life to finish off Shikishima's men, and destroys the tank that Hanji's in it.
Yeah.
But no one ever makes any mention of it. It's almost as bad as a poorly written action movie in Hollywood,
or an awful fight that would occur in Bleach, where some characters are just left off to the side and are never brought up again.
Yeah. It's like, or worse, like a Hollywood movie where, it's like allies are killed left and right for a sight gag, and none of the heroes mentions it at all. It just happens. Like, I think the best example would be, I don't know, a lot of terrible 90s action movies where an important character is killed off halfway and nobody really thinks about it. And it really would... If this was a Hollywood movie, Hanji would have died right there and then. We would have never seen her again. Nobody would acknowledge her.
Yeah. Almost remember like when Skids and Mudflag disappeared right after Devastator was done with them.
Oh yeah, exactly. Although, again, I wish I could think of even worse examples. The only thing I can think of, like The Mummy 2, some of the characters in that. Van Helsing, that really stupid scene where an army of bat vampires, little vampires, are carrying away a city's worth of villagers in the sky, never be seen again.
And then they explode.
Yeah, explode. But no, not just mass death and all these characters being killed left and right, and just doesn't make any... I don't. Oh God, Hollywood has horror. Anyways, you know what I mean. It's like they introduce a character, they make a big deal, then he's unceremoniously killed off.
Yeah.
Just for like a really stupid sight gag, and that's how it felt with Hanji. Thankfully, you called it. You were right.
I kept calling out most of these plot twists.
Yeah. Again, if this was a Hollywood movie, Hanji would have died right there and then, and we probably would have cut to a funny scene where she's screaming inside the tank as she's being burned alive. In fact, she. Yeah, at least she wasn't treated as horribly as Dr. Hammond in Man of Steel, an important scientist character in Superman lore, unceremoniously killed in a plane crash during the climax. That's the perfect way to describe it. Of course, Hanji, being Hanji, comes out of the rubble and even kind of puts hangs a lampshade on the subject, saying like, they just left me to die here. Rises out of the ground like Deadpool after getting his ass kicked, and with like guns and so Hanji got a little bit of the short end of the stick, and if you're a Hanji fan, that scene would definitely upset as it almost upsetted me. So
well, she played a big part in taking down the Colossal Titan.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, for a while there, you had more hope she was going to come back.
Yeah,
I felt like, oh great, this is the first sign that the movie's going to take.
Then I was like, no, this movie's clearly taking a lot of familiar tropes, and they're obviously going to do something with Hanji.
Yeah, hopefully. So, but no, thankfully she comes out of it alive. But yeah, she did get kind of screwed over by her friends. Basically, I'm surprised that the movie didn't end with her just like with her arms crossed, like, you guys left me. So we forgot you were even in there. Forgot. So, oh my goodness.
But this movie isn't clever enough to do that.
Yeah, you're right. On the bright side, she did come back at the end. I said, if this was a Hollywood movie, they just unceremoniously cut to her being burned alive in the tank, like, oh no, with her hands on her cheeks, like, oh, I'm dying, and that's the end of her. Thankfully, this is a Japanese film where, I hate to say it, Hanji does come off more like the comic relief character than the badass.
She's supposed to be the comic relief.
I know, but
given how much she screams a lot.
Yeah, it's like, I love her very much. I love the actress who's playing her. I can't wait to see what she does in Godzilla Resurgence. But she does come off a little bit. I'm just a little bit like a slightly more attractive version of Jar Jar Binks in some scenes. I hate to say it. So, Miso, sorry.
Oh, Miso wanna try the tank. Misa gonna kill you now, Titan!
Oh, God.
So we're approaching the hour mark now, so let's wrap this up. So where can people find you, Enshohma?
You can find me at my DeviantArt site, which is Enshohma at deviantart.com, and Enshohma is spelled Enshohma. Again, that's Enshohma. In fact, you can just do a Google search and find it anywhere. You can also find me on Facebook. My official group, which is open to the public, is Enshohma Lives. Actually, it's www.com. Damn it! www.
People don't do that WW shit anymore.
All right, facebook.com/Enshohma Lives. You can also visit my blog, which is Enshohma's Corner at blogspot.com. And and my YouTube channel is also under Enshohma, so which you will probably put links in there, hopefully.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, but again, just Enshohma is such a unique name. Just put a Google search, you'll find me.
Yeah.
So
maybe you'll find me. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe we've collaborated so much that now I am 1-1 with him.
Oh my goodness, it's like a two-headed giant. It's just like Jack the Giant Killer from 1960-something. So.
All right, then. So, guys, that has been our review for Attack on Titan Part 2, End of the World, and as well as our little mini spoiler discussions. We hope you have enjoyed the finale to our thoughts on the live-action escapades of the franchise, and we hope that you enjoy more content from us as the year progresses.
There's definitely more even knowing that you, my dear friend, you're going to be moving out of
the country for quite a while.
Yeah, for quite a while, and this is probably going to be the last time we meet face to face for a while.
We still have pre-recorded stuff in the background.
Yeah, and there's always the magic of Skype, and if you love our long-winded discussions of movies, wait until you see something we have planned for a certain flying, fire-breathing turtle.
Absolutely.
Oh, Attack on Titan double feature.
Yes.
And
to paraphrase Kylo Ren, we have finished what we started.
yes, we have finished what we started. Oh, you said it first. Damn it, it sounds like I'll do a Hanji impression. It's like, oh, excuse me, oh, you beat me to it again, you jerk. So, admittedly, though, Hanji is a lot more hotter than Jar Jar Binks. So,
You already said that.
oh, well, I'm gonna say it again. So,
Anyways,
I love you, Satomi Ishihara.
anyways, that was Enshohma. I have been Kaiji Noir. We hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, everybody, take care.
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening, and see you soon. Bye.